What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Real Reds Talk. This is your favourite football fan channel made in Manchester, and we're going to kick things off straight out the gate with the Marcus Rashford news, the stuff you can see on the thumbnail, the stuff you can see in the title, the stuff you can see in the description, and the stuff you can see in the conversation as we kind of move forward with this. I think it's interesting, Sam. Well, I'll just read out the thing, what it is, basically. It's PSG. Well, I would have read out the thing, but it's just completely deleted everything in front of me. So let me get the article up, and then I can read it out for you, because it's just decided to just completely wipe off my screen. So this got reported earlier on today. I can't remember the outlet who actually put it out.
Ben Jacobs.
Ben Jacobs?
He was on that MUFC MPB channel, I think.
Yeah, I'll find it. Sorry, people. Like I said, I have it in front of me, but it's just completely wiped out. But I want to read out the actual tweet because I want to get the specifics on it. There we go. 2 seconds. What a fucking slow start this is.
I've got it if you want me to read it.
There we go. Yeah. So there's been discussions again between PSG and Manchester United about Marcus Rashford. Is that it? I could have just said that. I thought it was more detail than that.
No.
Ben Jacobs, that's what he's saying. So yeah, just talk to me about that, Sam. Interesting. This is kind of resurfacing. We was all under the impression, weren't we, that he was definitely going to stay, and he also like, yeah, whatever, it is what it is. But if PSG are now back interested and they're looking at him as a potential Mbappe replacement, there's a couple of ways you can kind of look at this in terms of we want one of their players, sorry. Yeah, just in general, just talk to me about it. Rashford, PSG. How do you feel about that?
I mean, we heard, was it before the 30-goal season? We heard those links, and his brother, who's his agent, was in Paris speaking to them. Was it that year, or was it after the 30-goal season he was doing it? I can't remember what.
No, I think it was after the 30-goal season.
Right. So yeah, obviously the 30-goal season happened, and we wanted to offer him a big fat contract, which I think is always a mistake after one good season. But is what it is. And his brother was out in Paris speaking to PSG, and reportedly PSG were really, really interested, but I don't think a bid was ever made. I believe. I think United were wanting too much money and ended up signing a new deal with us anyway. So yeah, it's interesting that they're still sort of interested even after he signed a new deal, which indicates that they'd be willing to pay a lot of money for him, because you're not going to get him as cheap as they would have done if they bought him the year previously, like before he signed that deal. Because before he signed that deal, he had what, a year, 2 years left on his deal. So theoretically, he should have been cheaper. But now you're like, he's got 4 or 5 years on a contract. Like, you're gonna have to pay that out, and he's not on cheap, is he? Like, he's on 350, 375. What's he on?
350.
Yeah, so a lot of money. So you think you got to come with the big bucks, as we'll get into later with Manuel Ugarte. Maybe there's a deal to be done there. Maybe you can, right, well, we want X amount for Rashford, but you say Ugarte is worth 40 million. Take that off, give us cash plus Ugarte. You can get him, and that helps our financial FFP situation. It gets a player off the books who, let's be honest, was awful last season, and his head just doesn't seem right. We've said it for a while. Up until that 30-goal season, we're all saying maybe he needs to change the scenery. Maybe he needs to go somewhere else and just thrive in another league or another team that's not under the scrutiny of Manchester United. And yeah, while it just says discussions, maybe it turns into something, maybe it doesn't. But it is quite interesting that they're still interested in him. Maybe as an Mbappe superstar replacement. Who knows?
Yeah, that's one way to sell it, isn't it? I suppose, if you're going to say, living in Paris, he's obviously got a big profile as it is anyway, and he'd probably be more settled in that league. I'd imagine there'd be less pressure. I know PSG is still a big club, but United's just a different beast, isn't it? And the fact that homegrown is a lot of... You don't
have to work as hard in PSG team as you do in the United.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I don't know. I just think it'd be easier for him. So that kind of led to my next question. Like, do you think he would be interested in it at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I think his head is definitely elsewhere, isn't it? Like, we've seen it on the pitch. Whether that's stuff going on at home, whether that's he falling out with a manager, or he doesn't like the way we're playing, his head's definitely elsewhere, because I don't know how you can go from the season he had before to the season he's had last season in literally like in the space of a couple of months. I don't understand what's gone on. Like, as far as we know, there's no major injuries, because nothing has come out since. Like, when he had the back injury, that was all very well publicized and we knew about it. But nothing's come out massive where he's like, yeah, he's been playing. Remember when Son had that off season? Then he said, oh yeah, he had a hernia the entire. He's like, okay, makes sense. Nothing's come out as far as we know. So obviously his head's elsewhere. So I definitely think he's thought about it. The fact that his brother went over a couple of years ago and spoke to them is definitely means like he wouldn't give the okay to his brother to do that unless there was something in his brain to go. Maybe I could go over there.
I'd be interested to test the waters, see what everyone in the chat thinks, because I think it's a weird one with Rashford. I still think there's a big kind of admiration for him from the fan base, and a lot of people would still be adamant on keeping him and thinking we can get the best out of him.
He's from the academy.
Yeah, of course. So. But it gets to a point in it, like, what's 26, 27 now?
Yeah.
He's got the next couple of years, really, in reality, in his prime, to show, you know, what he's about. I mean, the guy's not even gone to the Euros, don't forget. He's literally not even with England at the moment. So
for United as well, multiple times for Garnacho and for other players.
And if United are looking at other wingers, which we'll get into towards the end, then, you know, it's going to be even more competition. Will he be happy to compete? I don't know. Apparently he's happy that Ten Hag's staying. There was quotes coming out about that he's, you know, and he's training hard during pre-season or whatever it is. So.
Do you reckon he changed his mind when they announced Ten Hag was staying and he's getting a new deal? They were like, he was like, oh, fuck. I'm going to have to actually think because he's with the because normally the pattern is the manager has a shit season, the players complain about it, the manager gets sacked, the new manager comes in, the manager bounces, the players play well, and they're like, oh yeah, I'm loving my football, blah, 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 and then just cycle just repeats. But we've broken that cycle now because we've had a shit season, FA Cup win aside, we've had a shit season. A lot of players have complained and sort of said veiled things to the media, but now the manager's getting a new deal. They're like, what do they do now? Sancho's in a fucking quandary. Like he has to go. Rashford might be in the same boat. People like I'm sure there was other people who were outspoken as well. So it's like Anthony as well on the pitch has visibly been outspoken towards Ten Hag, like refusing to go to left back and what have you. So a lot of players now are going to be like, well, what do I do if he gets offered a new 3-year deal? He's here for at least another season. And I'm just going to sit on the bench. I'm going to sit in the reserves. Like they're going to have to think about it.
Yeah. This one would be interesting, especially if it starts to heat up and PSG really like put the cards on the table and say, this is our replacement. This is the guy. And if Ben Jacobs is reporting it, I know he has good links within Qatar. Yes. And obviously PSG are Qatari-owned thing. So I reckon there's probably some substance to it, or it's at least legit that they're interested and they want to have talks and stuff. If the issue is with me, I don't know how many times us, people in the chat, you know, community, whatever, want to have the conversation that, you know, well, we'll get the consistency out of him. He'll be there. You know, he's shown it before. Do you keep saying that up until he's 30 years old? Like, when do you stop talking about that?
It becomes a Jesse Lingard situation, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, his levels, in fairness, have been higher than Lingard.
I'm using it as a comparison. Like,
yeah.
Jesse Lingard, it's a young, exciting talent. He like the FA Cup semi-final goal. He was playing for England and was like a key part of that. And then every year he was just like, no, he's going to kick on. He's going to kick. And it just never happened. And he was more interested in what was going on off the pitch with his fashion line and his music and stuff. And Rashford's kind of doing that. Like he's going out at nights out in Belfast and then ringing in sick.
Yeah.
And not being consistent. And then there's been things, the interview with the Players Tribune with a couple of comments where you're like, that's a
Belfast. Don't forget about Belfast.
Well, I just mentioned Belfast previously.
Oh, sorry.
And then there was comments in the media and stuff. So you just like, there's a lot there. There's draw comparisons. Like you rightly said, obviously Rashford is levels above what Jesse Lingard is, but similar pathway, academy prospects, English, big part of the England team at one point, now out of favour. Jesse Lingard's gone to Korea and the Korean manager was like, he's not even a footballer. Like, do you know what I mean? Like this, it could potentially happen to Rashford, man. And if he continues on the form that he played last season, this upcoming season, why are we wasting our time 350k a week on it? Like, why would we bother? Like, when you could potentially cash in with PSG and they give you a lot of money for him.
I think that would be sad if it did happen because you listen to the way some footballers talk about him. Even Declan Rice in the England setup was like, when he got asked who's the trickiest players you ever played against or toughest, he said Rashford. Like, listen, this guy in training is unbelievable. And his ability, no doubt, you listen to anyone who talks about him.
When he's on form,
he's absolutely a killer. Yeah.
But how often is he on form?
Yeah, how can you and is that a product of United's environment as well? Can you just blame him consistently,
Probably
it's
not.
all his fault, or
No.
can you also blame the things that's going on at United?
Obviously, the stuff that's gone on at United with the constant managerial changes, because he got his debut under Van Gaal.
Van Gaal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So obviously he's been through 3 managers since then. You've had an ownership.
Mourinho, Ole, Ragnick. Yeah.
Yeah. So you had the ownership takeover going on as well in the background. Apparently the training facilities haven't been up to standard. That's why they're doing this renovation. Like there's been a lot going on. He's had constantly changing teammates, different changing of systems. There's been a lot going on, which is not a great environment for any player. But the sort of bare minimum you expect on a pitch is to work hard and do the best to your ability. And I think at times from Rashford on pitch, we haven't seen that. We've seen players play poorly, but we've seen players put effort in and fucking try. We've not seen that from Rashford quite a lot of times, and I think that's the bare minimum for a player.
Yeah, I agree. Let's see what everyone's saying in the chat then, because I want to get into people's opinions. So please do keep getting your comments in and smash that like button as well if you haven't done already. You lovely, lovely people. Okay, right, let's scroll up a little bit. For some reason, my fucking computer today has just been an absolute arsehole. My damn United, that night in Paris under all these still in their heads, club needs to spend a couple mil on a decent hacker to take down all of Rashford's 23-24 compilations and make them cough up, if only. 45 mil for Rashford, says Charlie. Nah, you get way more than that.
Double that.
Way more. You think about his image and brand and everything that comes with him.
The contract he's on as well. He's got 4 years. He got to pay out 350k a week. Like, nah. Way more.
Mate, if Nottingham Forest are paying 40 plus 5 for Gibbs White, Rashford's worth way more than that. The dude was the worst left winger in the league last season. He gave nothing. He's not worth more than 45 after his last season. Listen, he is. I'm telling you, he is. 20 mil for Rashford, says Robert. Oh, these prices are getting even more ridiculous.
By the way, for the people who put in ridiculous prices, if we were going to go buy him from a club now, how much are we paying?
Yeah, it's not 20 mil.
We're not getting him for 20. We're not getting him for 45.
And the levels that he's shown, if PSG get hold of him, United know for a fact if he was to go to France, 20 plus goals, easy. I'm telling you. Lacazette went to that league and scored 28 goals in a single season. So if you're telling me Marcus Rashford can't go there and do bits.
Jonathan David got like 20 odd goals there. You know what I mean? Like it's not difficult.
I agree with Jay in the chat. He's saying 70 minimum. I think 78 is definitely worth that, 100%. But then obviously you get his wages on top of that as well. So it is a tricky one. I agree with that. But I just hope we can, kind of iron some consistency out of him and just see it. Because I'd love him to stay. But if he's just constantly underperforming, if he has another season like last season, I mean, you got to pull the trigger. You just got to sell him. You have to. Because his value's only going to depreciate then.
Is he in the Jadon Sancho category for you yet?
No, not yet. No, not for me. No. But I think another season then. Yeah, he'll get there because Sancho's never shown anything at United. Rashford has, so there's a slight difference there. But also, he's had fucking 7-8 years, in senior football at the same time, longer.
And has he ever put back-to-back seasons consistently together?
No, I don't think he has. It is a tricky one. But we shall move on because we have other stories to talk about. I want to discuss this Old Trafford breaking news that we had earlier on in the day. That was initially going to be the first thing we spoke about, but obviously with the Rashford news, it's quite a big topic. So we thought we'd go with that first, and then we'll talk about Old Trafford no more, apparently. So yeah, we had breaking news. Who knows? Old Trafford may be called the I Stadium or something along the lines of that if Apple fucking take over. But apparently Sir Jim Ratcliffe is considering selling the naming rights to Old Trafford or building a brand new stadium to fund for it to be funded or to fund the project, something along the lines of that. Just imagine this, Sam, if Apple was to take over, right? I've described like a scenario here for you. You're watching it through an Apple Vision Pro. You're getting real in-game stats, on your Apple Watch. You're only paying Apple Pay at the bar. I'm just joking. Does this concept kind of appeal to you whatsoever? Does it?
I know a lot of people have issues with it being history and naming rights and all that sort of stuff. They want it to be Old Trafford and the history of blah, blah, blah. So, which I understand, and if that's your opinion, you're fully entitled to it. For me, I'll always call it Old Trafford. Like, it'd be called the iStadium, be called the Amazon Present Stadium. I don't give a shit.
In the Old Trafford, will they do that?
In the Old Trafford. Like, it will be Old Trafford to me from now forevermore. Like, that's what it'll be. Like, where do we train, Nick? Where do we train, United?
Carrington.
Okay, what's the name of the actual place? Exactly.
No
Aeon. It's called the Aeon Training Complex. What does everybody call it? Carrington.
Yeah,
The same thing. Like, it's just that's what it's going to be. So you could name it whatever the fuck you want, but it's going to be Old Trafford. Like, to us, to the match going fans, all of us who go there, it's going to be Old Trafford forevermore. Like, it's just that's the way it is. So
it'd be weird calling it something different, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Like, it's like a ritual almost. Oh, we're going to Old Trafford. Like, to take it out of the lingo, I think even that would take a while.
No. So we all, like I've just explained with the training complex, we call it Carrington. Not called Carrington. It's called Aon Training Complex, but we call it Carrington. So, like, that's what it's going to be. So name it whatever you want. If they want to pay us hundreds and hundreds of millions to put their name above the stadium, fine, do it. That means more money for us. Means we could build better stadium, better training facilities, get better players in. It only benefits the thing. Where I do draw a line is if they wanted to like rip Old Trafford off the side of the stadium and then like just rebrand it completely or something like the Etihad or something. Do you know what I mean? I don't want it. I don't need that shit in my life.
Yeah.
But yeah, just if they want to put their sponsor all over it or on the stands and shit, go for it, man. I don't care because it will always be Old Trafford to me. But I understand the people with a history and stuff because there's people who don't want to move to a new ground. The history that's happened at Old Trafford, so I understand that point of view as well. But for me, it's not that big of a deal, really.
I was reading the Athletic article that put this out, so it was Adam Crafton, I think initially, who wrote the piece, and he was saying like alternatively they could do what they did with Wembley and EE, where they just kind of have like a side sponsorship. I think they pay like 10 million a year for that, so that's another form of funding. But it seems like Ratcliffe is trying every source on it. We've heard about government funding potentially as well.
Yeah.
Doesn't want to pull out of his own pocket. He wants, he's using other resources, which billionaires do, don't they? Let's face it. There's no surprise in that.
That's why they're rich, mate. That's why they're billionaires.
Oh, yeah. It's all debt. It's not out of their fucking pocket. It's all debt.
The one issue I had in the article, I don't know if you were going to bring it up, the ticket price thing is the thing I have an issue with. Like, I think that should be avoided at all costs. I think fans are already paying through the arse, not just at United, but across the country. They're paying and they're being priced out of the game, essentially. There's so many families and people who can't take the kids to the game because essentially if it's you and you're taking one or two of your kids, it's going to cost you 100, 150 quid. That's before you buy any of the food, which I wouldn't buy because our health rating is atrocious, apparently. There's multi shelves.
And the paninis with it. Don't forget about them.
So that's before. And then if they want to go to the mega store, what is it, 50, 60 quid a kit?
Yeah, it's very expensive.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
that's also what he wants to do, isn't it? He wants to like make it an event, so people are spending money around the area, which all kind of.
If you've got the money, fantastic. But a lot of us, like me and you, come from working class backgrounds.
Like, area in general,
we've grown up with nothing, like absolutely nothing. So fans like us are essentially being priced out of the thing, which I don't want to see. And you're only going to increase that gap where only elites can go to the games because they're the only ones who can afford the tickets if you increase the ticket price.
And then you take the purity out of it as well.
It's just not for me. So I really highly disagree with that point of if he's thinking on that. I'm hoping that gets shut down by the fan groups and stuff. I hope they fight for that and absolutely shut that down and he moves on to something else because I think that would be a terrible, terrible move for him.
Yeah, you better hold on to your pockets, lads, because if them ticket prices going to go, you're going to need a fucking mortgage to get. Forget a season ticket, just a ticket for a game. In general. I think you look at the other clubs around us, Sam, in the Premier League. Arsenal have obviously done it, haven't they, with the Emirates? You've got City who've done it with the Etihad. I'm not sure how the fans reacted to that. I don't know if they was like uproar about it. I know hybrid was a little bit on there.
Fulham recently they built that new stand, didn't they? At Craven Cottage, and then they increased their prices like 20% or something like that. And there was protests there. People were like absolutely furious. They've been priced out of the game and stuff like that. So I'm sure you'll see similar scenes at United. Like I don't imagine they're not ever going to sell it out because you think about the amount of tourists and people come over here to watch United. They'll never not sell it out. But the fact that the ticket prices to the match going everyday fan, like the Manchester fan or the UK based fan, they'll be furious at it, but they'll still sell it out regardless because there's always 100,000 people wanting to come to Old Trafford. Every week. Yeah,
and they know that, that's the thing. And Ineos, as much as there's a lot of positive PR about them, they are very strict business. You see some of the stuff that they've let go as well. You can read into everything that they've done since they've been at the club. So they have no qualms whatsoever about fucking,
ruthless.
Putting ticket prices
Absolutely
up,
ruthless.
Bringing sponsorships in, getting the government involved, whatever they can to kind of put this funding in. And, sometimes people say, well, it's smart business, if whatever people want to call it. But I I don't know. I was open to, let's say, like a new stadium, for example. I was open to that. But having it called like I'm saying, the iStadium or Apple Stadium, or just, I don't know. It don't feel right. Don't feel right at all. You become commercialized, then it just loses that kind of soul out of it. Just for me personally.
Yeah, no, I
not a fan.
understand that. I understand that. But yeah, the ticket price thing, I hope does not happen. I know they're exploring all options, but that's not be a thing. Like, I'm hoping we can freeze ticket prices so people can still, because it's still expensive now. Like, it is still expensive, but I'm hoping people can still get to games. Like, young kids and people with families and stuff should be able to go to games. Like, it's hard enough getting a ticket. Like, the right fucking gold dust as it is, but like the fact that they're gonna price people out is another thing.
You've been with your girlfriend, I've been with my girlfriend. We get 2 tickets each. It's what, 58 quid on average or something each. So over £100 every time you want to go, plus what you're going to spend there, the travel and everything. Like, you're talking about 150 quid just to go to watch, a game. It is mad. And I know even Arsenal's prices are worse. Like, some of their seats are so fucking expensive.
Spurs as well. Spurs is like my mate Dan, who's been on the channel before. His brother's a season ticket holder at Spurs, and he goes down to London to see him. He said it's insane. Prices are fucking like batshit.
Ridiculous. It's gonna get to a point where you pay like £100 a game. That's crazy.
Insane.
That is like really bad.
Gig tickets, though. That's what concert tickets are like now. Like, look at concerts are like the co-op and stuff like that. Like 80+ quid for a ticket. When I used to like go to gigs, it was like 30 quid maximum, maybe 35, but now it's like 80 quid.
And as well, I'm sure you agree with this sentiment as well. I would rather see him in a smaller venue than a stadium and pay 150 quid every day of the fucking week.
And you're like, is that them? Is that so?
Nosebleeds, just cats. Yeah, I think it's ridiculous. So yeah, we'll see what happens with that. Tim99 saying sold Trafford. Yeah, very nice. I love it. Evening all, arriving late, so 40 minutes behind. My damned United. Big up yourself. Hope you're good, mate. With Old Trafford, I mean, I'll be upset if Old Trafford goes and the naming rights, but we can't hold on to history in that context forever. Maybe the new gaffer will have some sort of tribute to Old Trafford. People still talk about Rashford as well. This is a good one. Al Hilal are interested in signing Garnacho this summer. We'll get into transfers. Well, that's the next that's on the
400 million.
About that.
400 million, I'll fuck off.
Razor. Not a chance we're selling Garnacho. He's United family silver. The kid even looks like a 90s mank. It's in his blood. Yeah, he won't go. It's just nonsense. Drop the prices, tempt people, said Simon.
If he does go, it'll be to Madrid. He ain't going to Qatar or...
Yeah, I agree. He's destined for that club, isn't he, that kid? They're going to be good when it happens. Selling Rashford makes a statement that favourites don't cut it, I suppose.
Yeah.
And Jay says, sat up in the rafters with your binoculars. Everyone's been there. Yeah. You paid 100 quid for a ticket. It's your favourite bat. You fucking... Yeah, it's just, it's not the same.
If one of my, if I like bands I follow and stuff like that, if they're playing in arena, I just won't go because it's just fucking essentially pointless.
It's not worth it.
Like, unless like the biggest venue I'll do is like if you're from Manchester, is the Apollo, and that's the biggest I'll go, which I think is about 800 people. That's the biggest I go. Like one of my favorite bands, Slipknot, is on at Co-op Arena, and I don't particularly want to. I love them so much, my favorite band, but I don't want to go because the arena show is just gonna, it's gonna lose.
Not the same.
For me.
I remember I saw Dave before he proper blew up, the rapper, at the Academy. I don't know, what's the Academy hold like? Is it 4K or something? 2 to 4K or something?
Something like that,
maybe. And then like he was doing arenas and stuff. It doesn't have that same connection. It's just not the same. We're going off on a tangent here anyway, but you take the point.
Grace has got a question. Would you guys sell Rashford? Would you sell him, Nick?
I would probably lean more 60% yes, 40% no. At the minute.
How much? What would be the minimum?
80.
80. I agree. If 80 million plus bid come in, I'd sell him.
Yeah. If Jack Grealish is going for 100, Anthony's going for 90, it's whatever people are paying in the market at the minute for wingers. You've seen him pay ridiculous prices.
Has gone for 60 release clause. If he didn't have a release clause, how much is he going for in reality?
Yeah. And there's plenty more examples. So yeah, for me personally, Sam.
Yeah, I'd say 80+ million. I'd sell him. Anything below that, I'd be like, I'd have to sort of think about it. It shouldn't be below 80 though, for me.
Whilst we're on the topic of money being spent on transfers, we'll just dive right into that. I mean, there's been an update on Xerxes. Did we bother covering it at this point?
Until when it happens, it'll happen. But let's just
it's edging forward according to Sky Sports.
Sky Sports, can you just stop? Like you put breaking news, and then you put Joshua Xerxes deals edging closer.
Yeah.
It's not an update. That's not a fucking update. Like, what are you doing? Like,
nonsense, absolute nonsense. On to another transfer, Jared Branthwaite. Little update on him. There's reports that Everton's FFP not as strict, which anyone who's watched the Branthwaite video that we did on the channel yesterday or the day before, I mentioned that on the thing. Like, if you read into it and listen to journalists around Everton, they've all said that, like, on a consistent basis, their FFP isn't as bad.
The dodgy swap deals have helped them out as well, haven't they?
That lots of to do with them.
Villa and Newcastle, I think they've done like swap / buy deals. Where
Chelsea, Everton, they're all in a pool of fucking.
When you buy a player, you can amortize it over the length of the contract, so you only show a portion of it when you buy, but then when you sell, you get the whole amount on your books. So it's basically like they're fixing the books. So basically, their FFP is better than in reality. If you looked at the situation, you'd be like, "How have they done that?" But that's basically what they're doing.
Well, if they're gonna stand strong on this, what do we do? If they're staying firm and they say, nope, we want 70 or he's not going fucking anywhere.
Walk away.
But who'd you go get then?
Go speak to Yoro. Go sort of reinitiate. It might not be. They've not put a bid in. So like
the majority of credible journalists are putting out he wants Real Madrid.
Until they put a bid in, go test it. Go test the waters. We've not even put a bid in, so let's go do that. Let's go have a look at Inacio. I'm sure there's other centre back. Mark Gahey, why go speak to him? Go speak to Crystal Palace about Mark
Gahey. I would agree with, but he's going to cost the same amount.
Well, just go test it until we ask, until we know. He might have a release clause that we don't know about. Like there might be other.
They're going to be tested waters everywhere with the bids they're putting in initially.
Exactly.
Seen Ugarte was like 30 mil, and then Branthwaite was 30 mil. They're just fucking lowballing everyone. Seems like
it makes a difference from us just fucking overpaying for everybody, doesn't it?
Yeah, but if you don't get the player, then it's like that's what I'm worried about. If you don't get Branthwaite,
this summer might be painful, where we don't overpay for anybody, but we draw the line in the sand with all these clubs where we don't do that anymore. So the next time the transfer window opens, clubs would be less likely to just go, "This is the price and you pay it." They're more likely to negotiate. So this summer might be a painful one.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you're going to touch on the Todibo thing with the lawyers and stuff.
No, what was that? Go on.
So United apparently are hiring solicitors and lawyers to sort of try and force through the Todibo transfer because they believe it's unjust the way the UEFA is set up in terms of selling players to the clubs that are owned by the same people. So they're using basically taking it to court to push through the sort of
the deal,
the transfer. So yeah, that's apparently
maybe he was banking on that as the second centre back. You know, like
maybe
because you hear reports 20-30 mil. You're like, hang on a minute, what?
Yeah.
Obviously the player wants to go to the club as well. We know that, so that was an easy tap-in deal to do as a secondary one. But they got in lawyers for that. There's lawyers for like Dan Ashworth and everything's going on there. There's just
because people know, like United are used to overpaying and United are used to not just being the whipping boy for all this stuff. So people are now digging their heels in. Newcastle digging their heels in. Everton are digging their heels in. UEFA are digging their heels in. So now we're just putting fires out everywhere. So while it's bad for us as fans and bad for us as a club, it then sets the marker down for the future that we ain't going to be fucked around. We're not going to overpay. We're not going to do these things. But it's just going to be painful this summer, unfortunately, for United. I think that's just the way it's going to be. Well,
they said that it was, going to get things done before a certain, before pre-season. They wanted 2 signings in, and, it's getting closer and closer.
They wanted it, but in reality, it might not be possible.
Yeah. We'll see what happens with that one. Next up, Dimarcio put something out before. Manchester United have inquired about Bologna winger Dan Ndoye, 23 years old. Has previously played for Ineos-owned clubs, Lausanne and Nice. Don't forget Dimarcio, same guy who said Ten Hag sacked. So take that for what you will. Yeah. Maybe he's losing his credibility slowly. But yeah, another Bologna player, Sam, who, their team's just going to get picked apart.
Apparently.
You talk about Xerxes, you talk about Ndoye, the centre-back. A lot of clubs interested in the Italian centre-back. I forgot his name. Calafiore. Yeah. I wouldn't say calamari then. He's not squid.
No, he's not squid.
So yeah, they seem like they're going to get picked apart. Had a good tournament so far with Switzerland. Could play on either side, decent winger. But I had a look at his... I know things aren't all about stats, right?
Yeah.
He's got 1 goal and 1 assist in the league. So...
Yeah. He's about the same as Anthony.
Talk about not stats, it's but it's the same as Anthony.
Yeah.
It doesn't read well, does it? At all.
No, but maybe they see something in him. How old is he? Is he young?
23.
23, right.
He's looked good in the tournament. Don't get twisted, like for Switzerland. He's looked really, really good, but I don't know.
Maybe they
I don't
see
know about that one.
something. Maybe there's something they can use in the system. Maybe there's something like that. Um, Depends on the figure. I've just seen another one from Damatio, 47 seconds. They have tested the waters. There's another phrase for you for your bingo card. Interested,
They all...
inquired, tested the waters, monitoring. What else am I missing? You think of any
mate.
more? Put them in the
You
chat.
get this...
Put them in the chat for all your
Yeah.
bingo card fucking technical things that they use for.
Yeah.
Basically, they don't want to say anything, but they want to put an indication that there might be a transfer in there, even though there's no indication that there is. Fucking bollocks.
Right, let's go to the chat then, just before we finish the show. My Damn United, bless them dippers. Times are hard on Merseyside. Thursday payday ain't what it used to be. Wow.
Fucking hell.
Would you guys, sorry, I already read that out, swap Rashford for Ugarte and some money our way? Maybe?
Yeah.
Selling him makes no sense, not this summer anyways. I'd love to know why. Why not this summer? Maybe,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't
know. If Rashford needs to go, he can go. If not, something got to give. Can't see him slope about the pitch again this season. It won't wash. Agreed, the intimacy makes it special. Main row, 30,000 max, but we sang all game no matter what. Andy Williams saying they just received 200 million. And then Simon Davis says, fiddle in the books, you donut. Yeah, I think that's a good way to end it.
He's also said it gets worse before it gets better. Yeah, that's where we're at with United. Sometimes things get worse before they get better because you've got to clear out all the shit, all the mud, all the fucking crap that's been stuck in there. Like, it's a really bad reference, but I've just had to pay out a shit ton of money for a boiler fix. And this boiler's never been serviced in 11 years. Like, so it's just full of gunk and stuff. This heating element's just full of gunk. And the guy rinsed it through and he's like, basically, the water comes in, it heats up in the element and it comes out this end. And that's what get you hot water. The reason you get no hot water because it's just backed up with gunk in here because nobody serviced it. So let's get serviced once a year. That's basically United. We're just backed up full of shit. Yeah. And we're trying to clear out. And different parts are falling apart. It's like, right, fix that, fix that, fix that. Until we fix everything and get everything in place, it's not going to run smooth. You're still going to have failures. You're still going to have to pull parts out. You're still going to have to change things. It's going to get worse before it gets better. It's like, what is the phrase? It's that always darkest before the dawn. That's where United's at. So this summer's not going to be a cakewalk. It's going to be painful. It's going to be a struggle, but it'll be worth it in the end, hopefully. Hopefully.
Yeah. Well, we was going to end on something positive. We were ending on something philosophical now. Yeah. So I'm happy to end it on that. Thank you very much for everyone tuning in. Really appreciate it. Obviously, we've got another game on tonight. Portugal and Georgia, is it? I think.
Yeah. Czech Republic, Turkey.
Yeah, that's on in 25 minutes, so we know everyone kind of wants to watch the football, so we'll get off early. Appreciate everyone joining. Make sure you drop us a follow on socials. Subscribe to the channel if you are new and you're watching this. You're like, who are these people? What's this content? Yeah. Welcome to Real Reds Talk. We've got a load of legends in the chat, a load of legends in the community, and I appreciate every single one of you. And again, no 12 o'clock shows, but we're trying to put out as much content out as we possibly can. So yeah, you'll have a few more bits coming in the next couple of days, and then your usual kind of lives as well. So yeah, I think we can leave it on that, Sam.
Yeah. Go check out Nick's Branthwaite video if you're a member. Go check out the Youth Academy video me and Nick did on 2 people that we think might break through this season. Give you something to watch, and then yeah, we'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Take it easy, everyone. See you in a bit.
Peace.